Hey Internet, this is Highway 47, and this is Dracofunk here. I'm continuing my reusable space program. Today, I am joined by Oustanding Mango. Hello, you there?
Hello, everyone. I am Oustanding Mango, but you can call me Mango.
All right, so this is Jebediah. He is departing the airplane after he flew the Highway 47 crew in the return episode. Mango, to your right, you can see the Highway 47 mobile studio. Please ignore the fact that it is currently upside down. There was a small accident. Everybody's okay.
Is everybody all right? Okay.
It is just currently upside down. I had planned, like, there are 3 people in a little car right there. I had planned to have them go up to the space station, but I forgot there are already enough passengers on board this aircraft. This aircraft's actually an SSTO. You know what that stands for? I'm sure you do.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure you can tell me.
Single stage to orbit.
Got it.
I have to disembark one of the passengers. They are not going to space today. So I'm just going to put them in the car. I will probably not forget. I'm going to try and not forget about them and leave them in the car for days.
Yeah, that would not be good without food and water, I don't think.
They can always go. There's plenty of snacks in the Highway 47 studio. We'll have to throw them out the window, though.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because, we're upside down. So, Jebediah, he was on our very first space mission. I put 3 satellites in, not Geo, because this isn't Earth. I don't know what it would be called. In synchronous orbit.
There you go.
So I could set up a ComNet. And he came back down. He actually landed on this aircraft, the SSTO, and flew an aircraft with the Highway 47 crew to the North Pole. If you want to go back and watch our North Pole expedition, it might be somewhat entertaining. Or the return trip is just a music video.
As long as it's entertaining as these guys, they look pretty happy here.
Their favorite thing is to go to space. I am currently I sped up the video. We're going 4 times now because we're just taxiing down the runway.
It would be nice if you could taxi all aircraft that way. That'd be fantastic. Which, by the way, I should introduce myself a little bit. I do work for a aerospace company. However, my specialty is not space, but I'm joining this thoroughly. Nearing the end of the runway, you might want to get up in the air.
Well, once this is just
taxiing. You were just taxiing. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. I had to taxi down because I need to be facing this way because this aircraft is going to accelerate all the way to orbit.
All right, now do these creatures have to experience the same G-forces that were for limitations on humans, or are they different?
I have not killed anybody by using excessive G-force yet. Technically, in this whole program, I have not lost any Kerbals. I've not lost anything. It is unfortunately possible for that to happen. I've just been very careful. And we have now left the runway. I'm pretty sure I remember to bring the landing gear up. And I will time accelerate as I'm heading into orbit. Put it into cinematic mode. You can see the aircraft. I fly a flight pattern for this aircraft of about 20 degrees pitch up. And that gives me the great acceleration. And through the magic of cinematography, we are going to be almost in orbit in just a moment. I know you haven't seen this, Mango, but if you've been following my stream, you have seen me get into orbit before. And here we are. I have an apoapsis of about just under 100 kilometers. I'm trying to bring my periapsis also to 100. these have special Rapier engines that actually will switch from closed circuit to open. In open circuit, they work more like a regular jet engine. In closed circuit, they work like a rocket engine. So in open circuit, they don't need oxidizer. In closed circuit, they do.
Makes sense, because you have to have the pressure to go in order to make jet actually propel back out. I get it.
Yeah. So I shut the Rapiers down now, and they just have regular rocket engines. I cut out the whole rendezvous with the space station, and this is just the docking maneuver. There's a docking port on top of the aircraft that I can open up once I get into space. Also, some solar panels. When we're in the atmosphere, those are stay closed and staged because they'll rip off otherwise. And this is the space station. The passengers can all disembark. 3 of the passengers will disembark onto the space bus, and Jebediah will go on to his personal craft, the Liberator. Now, I had a game issue where the craft for the space station, some of them weren't undocking. So I'm going to actually evacuate all the ships that are at the space station. And here I'm trying to actually undock the Liberator, which is Jebediah's ship, and the space bus once I refuel them. And both of those are stuck. So
when
if
you
Go
say
ahead.
game issue, you were just trying to evacuate your equipment so that way you could keep it? Is that what you mean?
When I say game issue, I mean that I should be able to click a button and click undock, but I don't have that. I didn't originally have that ability. I had to actually. It said I did, but when I clicked undock, it didn't undock. And now I don't have an undock button. So there is an issue with the game. What I'm going to have to do is I will undock the SSTO and the space bus and the Liberator. I have to download a utility. So if this is happening to you and somebody who's watching this is playing the game and your craft will not undock, there is a utility called KML, which will let you go back in there and fix it. I couldn't get it to work at first because I forgot to save once I fixed it. So don't make my mistake. Once you have fixed it and it says it is fixed, just hit save. And then you can reopen your game and it should work. And that's once I get the SSTO undocked, you will see that I will have ran this utility and fixed it, and everybody can undock and I can continue with the game. And probably in the next episode, I'll remember to actually land the SSTO back at the runway.
So the ship refueled now, and it's heading on to the next part of its mission, I assume?
Yeah, well, this is the SSTO. I don't actually refuel it since it lands back at the space complex.
Gotcha.
And this is Jebediah back in his spacecraft. This was the first ship I launched. I thought it looked like the Liberator from Blake 7. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a British sci-fi show.
No, I was just thinking about that. Was actually ingenious, actually not using additional fuel to land the craft, because you don't need it. You just use gravity.
Yeah.
Why waste fuel?
There's a little bit of fuel on it, so I can bring back the Rapier engines in open circuit jet mode if I need to fly it to the runway. And this is the space bus. On the back of it, there is a liquid oxygen tank that I'm taking to the moon station. I'm just checking to make sure that it has kept its name. I was having some issues where the moon station would take on the name of the space bus. Now I'm just getting it into orbit of the moon. So it takes about 828 meters per second of delta V to leave the orbit of the planet. And this is a space tanker. What am I doing with it? It is aligning planes for the moon station. And this is the ship that actually mines all the ore for the moon station.
Is this the ore that gets converted into fuel for refueling?
Yes. It will actually convert, it'll mine ore from the moon and then convert it into all the fuels on the surface and then still bring up some extra ore. And that's how I am keeping my space program fueled. And here I am landing on the moon. You might notice that I'm about to land on a big hill, which would be bad.
Yeah. You're supposed to land on something flat, I would think.
That's what I'm trying to do. I've actually got it into hover mode and trying to...
You're trying to redirect it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into that little valley down there.
Yeah, I see it.
So this is not the first mining craft I built. I actually had another one. It was much smaller. I found that it was very inefficient, and after 10 launches and not really having filled up the moon station, that I needed to build a bigger one. So that's what this craft is.
Gotcha. The version 2 of the mining device, or mining craft.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Minecraft. This is mining craft, yes. Two totally different things.
I am trying to rest my horizontal speed.
Your Kerbals look so happy.
They are. They're landing on the moon. It's like their favorite thing. Is that Barney and Tamji? Someday there needs to be an Oustanding Mango Kerbal.
Absolutely. That would be outstanding. Like, literally outstanding.
Yeah, it would be an engineer. Yeah, I've made it onto the moon.
A little bit of a bounce there.
It's okay. That's what the legs are for. I'm going to cut out they spend about 2 weeks on the surface mining, and I'm going to cut out those 2 weeks. Don't worry, those Kerbals they're still in the car. That's okay.
You forgot all the Kerbals in the car. Oh, it's terrible. Somebody's going to have to go check and see if they're still alive, still breathing. 2 weeks with no snacks.
They can get out and walk around the Space Center.
Okay.
To anybody who's playing this game, make sure that you have aligned your ship correctly. I did this time. There may have been a previous episode where I launched in the opposite direction.
That would be embarrassing.
Yes,
but entertaining.
Yes, it would.
Yes. Okay, so this is the mining craft coming back off of the planet.
Yeah, I'm now in Mooner orbit. Mooner, spelled M-U-N. I get it into a roughly 50-kilometer orbit. And it's going to hang out there for just a little bit because the space bus has rendezvoused with the Mooner station. And I am going to manually dock this because in a previous episode, trying to bring in a tank just like this, actually not just like this, it was the ore tank. This is a liquid oxygen tank.
How explosive in space?
I think it's actually empty.
Oh, is it empty? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're approaching very quickly.
I'm currently
sped up the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I may have passed the station a little bit. It's
okay.
not supposed to always be this way, but I am docking in the dark. It's just what tends to happen. All my docking happens in the dark. You can actually see the relative speed. I'm at like the target tells you how fast this craft is moving in relation to the moon station. By the way, I've decided to name all my stations after the space shuttle. So my very first station, do you know what it is named?
In honor of the Challenger, perhaps?
Well, the very first space shuttle.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I thought you were going for... Okay. So you did them in particular order?
The very first space shuttle was what I named the space station. So, do you know what this first space shuttle's name was?
This is a quiz question of my knowledge of space shuttle, so no, I do not know.
Enterprise.
Well, that's appropriate, because I love Enterprise.
I don't know why I'm trying to do a crew report. I think I clicked the wrong button. I'll do the crew report anyway. So I have actually gotten the ship docked. I am transferring the crew from the space bus. These are the same guys who came up on the SSTO. They got transferred to the space bus and now are being transferred to there's another spacecraft that is docked with the Lunar Station, which, by the way, the Moon Station is named after the second space shuttle, which is Columbia.
That's okay. I'm sure I get ridiculed online here for not knowing that off the top of my head that the first one was Enterprise, but that's okay. Yeah, it's still outstanding.
The Space Shuttle Enterprise never went to space. It was more of a proof of concept, and they actually used it to test the 747 that would haul the space shuttles around, and they used it for landing testing.
Yep, they also used it for temporary anti-gravity situations.
Yes. So now the space bus has
very specialized 747.
Yes, the vomit comet.
Yeah.
So the space bus has undocked from the Moon Station, and it's going to head back to Kerbin orbit, since it doesn't really need to hang around. And here
you're actually referring it to the space bus is because it actually just continues in orbit, picks up passengers, does its thing, and then keeps doing the same cycle whether there's people on it or not.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, it doesn't actually. It's not going to ever make an empty run. It may bring pieces of equipment to the Moon Station, but that's not its main function. Its main function is to bring people. So here's the mining ship. It is docking at the end of the Moon Station, or the Columbia Station. And now that it's docked, it will transfer its fuel over. And also approaching the Moon Station now is the space tanker. And this is a in-cockpit view from the space tanker of it approaching the station.
I like how they've solved the problem here of having small windows in space. This is much more enjoyable.
This is actually the biggest window, and I actually designed this whole spacecraft just for that view.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So here we come. This is a cinematic docking. It's going to dock to the back of the mining ship. Now, the mining, or the space tanker, I should say, actually has the orange tank on the back of it can come off, and I'm actually going to undock the front part of the space tanker right here, because those are just RCS tanks, so reaction fuel or monopropellant, and dock it to the side of the Moon Station. So the Moon Station is going to be a holding tank of ore, liquid oxygen, and monopropellant.
Now, why are you keeping reserved ore on the space station instead of converting it to fuel before you take it out?
Well, that's really a good question. The main reason is I have to have an ore tank on the mining ship anyway. And that just gives me the option of having just someplace to store the extra ore. So if I ever get into orbit, I can convert the ore without landing down on the planet again.
Okay. A couple of reasons I can think of possibly would be to examine it, for some other reason. The weight, weight ratio to keep things balanced, right? Same thing they ran into Apollo 13 when they were too light because they were supposed to have more rocks. They had planned their fuel that way.
Yeah.
So I can see of a couple of different things. I was just curious if you had another reason for keeping it reserved and the need to have a refinery on the station itself.
Well, there actually isn't a refinery on the station. The mining craft has to be docked to do any of the refinery maintenance.
Gotcha. Okay.
I
So
haven't
okay, that makes
I
sense.
haven't set up a refinery. I could send up a refinery unit to attach to the station. All my stations have built were actually module and have been docked together, very similar to how the International Space Station was built. But we gotta cut this short. The space bus and the mining craft are already back in orbit of Kerbin for their next mission. And I would like you to join us again when you have a chance, Mango, to see some of the continuations. And that's it for today. So good night.
All right. Thank you all. It was outstanding.